It's always very important if you're engaged in solution development to ensure that you're not building a solution in a vacuum. We were always very keen on collecting feedback internally and externally.
Welcome and thank you very much for joining us today here. Most people have heard the topic of ESG so far. It has been almost a buzzword going around in the markets. Can you briefly summarize it for the viewers who haven't heard of it really in detail?
ESG, as you rightly say, is a buzzword. It means environmental, social, and governance. And when we use the term, we mean the requirements that would apply to financial services providers in terms of transparency on ESG topics. And that is one element of the European ESG regulation.
Yeah, and I think one part of it is really that the managers think it through and see how they can best address, for example, environmental concerns, but also from the investor side, that they have better opportunities to compare product in terms of sustainability.
The core obligations are on your clients, who then have to maybe change some parts of their business, but especially have to introduce guidelines, have to introduce operational measures to create KPIs to keep track of their own changes. And with the ESG application that you've developed, you are helping them in keeping track, having an overview and managing this. Like you have done this without the help of technology, you have done this before, and this is your let's say core strategic consulting towards your clients. And now you have added a technological underpinning or an aspect, a portfolio add to that offering. How does that enhance? How can you consult better using a technology in that process?
There is a huge step going from theory and putting something into practice. And we thought we had a call with the client, and afterwards we had an internal call, and I was like, okay, we have to go through several requirements and then we have to make decisions, yes or no. And somehow that screamed BRYTER to me, because I'm part of the innovation circle, and we had a workshop on BRYTER, and we also had built other tools on BRYTER. And I said, okay, just give it a try and see how far we can get with this.
You managed to offer a technological, let's say, portfolio add as a team towards your clients. How was that? How can you share a bit how you went from idea to prototype to actually, showing the actual value to clients?
Well, after we've decided on that particular call that we would try it via BRYTER, the transaction lawyer, together with with our innovation manager in Germany, built the tool on BRYTER. And then a week later, I think we had another discussion to provide the last tweaks to the tool. For example, our tool, as we probably will see later, has a particular twist, as we offer first a preliminary assessment and later a full disclosure assessment. But I think there are not many law firms who have more than a fact sheet or some sort of brochure, but who can really offer a tool like we can.
What are your roles in the project and how was that set up? So from initial idea to then building it, delivering it, getting feedback. Can you share a bit what the project setup was and what your roles were in the project?
So as I'm part of the legal team, I was mainly involved in trying to come up with a way to translate our vision, what we had in mind for the client, and how the tool should look like and what it should include, and to translate that into something that could be built by Alkan and the solutions team. We had to come up with a way to translate the vision we had into something Alkan could build. We did that through what we called a construction manual.
I was mainly involved in the back end of BRYTER, building the vision the team and I had on how the solution should look like in the end, on how the decision tree, how the different user experiences or user paths should look in the end. For me, it was very helpful to have that construction manual, because that construction manual was built on the knowledge that you guys had on how this kind of use case might be realized on BRYTER.
How did you collect feedback from customers and also internally from the team? How did that go?
We had multiple iterations of the construction manual, and we integrated them or integrated feedback through the implementation of a changelog, basically. So whenever someone from our team would make a test run through the tool, they would write down their feedback and provide it to me, and I put all of that in changelog for Alcan to later adjust or to fix in the tool itself.
I mean, it's always very important if you're engaged in solution development to ensure that you're not building a solution in a vacuum. And therefore it is important to gather feedback internally but also externally to get a sense of what could be missing, what is maybe not as user-friendly as you thought it might be, what could be changed to make things, the whole experience an easier and a better one. And I think therefore we were always very keen on collecting feedback internally and externally.
How was building with BRYTER and basically having BRYTER as the building platform in between your team and the legal team that was involved? How was that?
I think it was amazing. I'm a big fan of BRYTER, of the platform, of the fact that it's very user friendly. I mean, there is a reason why we decided to organize an innovation workshop together with you guys and with our innovation circle. The reason for that is because I believe that BRYTER can enable our lawyers to think like legal engineers and also to act like legal engineers to some extent, at least in terms of web-based solution building on BRYTER. I always thought it's a very useful tool to teach our lawyers.
I've never previously worked with BRYTER and never built anything prior to ESG Conquest on BRYTER. And the part that I found most amazing is that it didn't really took me that long to actually understand the logic in the back end. Whenever Alcan showed it to me to fix some errors or to fix a specific part of the decision tree, I was able to actually grasp the logic behind that and provide sometimes useful input, I hope. So that was a really quick process.
We organized an innovation workshop, which was, I think, 3.5 or 4 hours, which included in the beginning, obviously, an introduction to BRYTER, a quick training, and then people were actually able to build their own use cases in the remaining time. And we're talking about like 2.5 hours, and we received a lot of I would say 80 to 90% finalized prototypes out of that workshop. And wow. I mean, how many platforms and how many tools can say that from themselves, that they're so user friendly that they're basically that you can teach a group of people how to utilize a platform, how to utilize the specific tool within 1 hour, and then they start building.
We thought we would build it in a way that we treat you like human beings. And the funny thing is that in your private life, you have an iPhone, and it's built for being intuitive and without a manual, and you would almost never Google a function in your iPhone unless it's something really complicated, but almost never. And that is something that we had almost like a dogma in the development. That's one thing. Then, of course, you are building these use cases in an environment where it's about highly specialized use cases. Mm-hmm. How did you feel this, like being between client feedback, between the ideas of the domain experts within the firm, and you as the product manager working on the platform?
It might be challenging for product managers and for innovation managers to deal with an increasing number of requirements and increasing complexity of those requirements. But I believe it is a very positive trend that we're seeing, because it means that there is a raised awareness on the market as well on what is possible. And that is obviously bringing new opportunities for everybody involved, whether it's for us or whether it's for our clients. But it is a positive trend because it's going into the right direction, in my opinion.
What was the feedback when you showed this to clients in a first draft? Were you hesitant to show a first let's say, demoable version, is that painful?
Yeah, I was a bit scared actually, because I thought, okay, perhaps they don't like it, or perhaps they think it's not good enough. But the contrary was the case. Everybody was quite impressed that we could build this. We also showed it to other tech corporates we collaborate with in different areas, and they were quite impressed as well.
Okay.
We were not hesitant at all to send it out. I know Sabrina was, because she's feeling responsible, but I did want to get this out as soon as possible, and we were under time pressure because the implementation phase was starting in March. So if we were going to use it, we would need to get it out early. So the rollout of this project in the form that we've done, it was a first for us. Giving clients access to this was new. It's a bit in the nature of the product that it is designed to guide rather than to deliver definitive legal results.
If you sum it up in one sentence, what clients can get from it, how would you describe it?
It's really a pretty big leap ahead in the change process.
Do you plan more solutions like the ESG Conquest solution?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is very important to have external but also internal contacts, key contacts, which you can include in the decision making and the ideation process.
You're looking forward to those solutions. Final question for you, Martin. If you would give a claim to the solution that you built, and you would say this is an offering for clients to use, how would you advertise it in a sentence?
I would probably describe it as relatively simple. So it's a complex topic, and it's an important topic all asset managers have to face right now. And I think what we've developed is the most simple solution to actually get a categorization for your product.